It was nice of you to take me down memory lane like that. You bastard! Not only have you been lying to me this whole time, you were awake too? Why? Why? Do you think I was going to just reveal myself to you? You turned on me, Tristy. Put me in the hands of Tal, and that's a fate worse than death. It might be hard to see in this light, but I've got plenty of scars on my face and the rest of my body besides the one you know, thanks to him. And you could have killed me. No, I need you to get off this planet, to settle things with Tal and his group. So that's it. Just need my fingerprint and eye scan. It's not like you've been looking forward to this reunion either, Tristy. Don't call me that. I'm not your little girl anymore. Not after what you did. What did I do? You killed my parents! You yell, hurling a burning branch that Aleph easily evades. No, he says, calmly stepping beyond the fires, and you can see his aged and scarred skin more clearly now, and your knife in his hand. Tal killed your parents, his mercenaries. I just saved your life. You led the raid on the capital. You killed my parents, and then you took me as a trophy. You pull your stun stick and get ready to swipe it at him, but he drops the knife and holds up his hands. That's not it, Caza. I was there to ensure the magistrate escaped. Magistrate, Battlemore says, barricading the doors to the palace. We have to evacuate immediately. The mercenaries are here to seize the capital, and they will not leave survivors. They can't kill me. I'm in good standing with the Republic Council, and a strong sympathizer to those who would see it unseated, Caladrone says, coming to stand beside her husband in support for the magistrate to leave. I cannot abandon the people. The people are subjugated, sir. The best we can do for you now is to provide you with a means of escape so the resistance can continue. I can't live among the resistance, the magistrate blusters. I don't have the wherewithal that people like you have to endure such conditions. Sir, it's either our conditions or that of a prison cell, or worse, Caladrone says. Mama? You call out from behind one of the columns to Caladrone. I'm scared. Caza, Battlemore calls out to you. I thought I put you in the magistrate's ship. You shouldn't be here. I, I... An explosion rips through the ornate doors, causing the four of you to be thrust down among the marble floors of the great hall. Breach! You hear a loud voice yell as smoke and dust filter into the room, obscuring your vision, though you see your mother gather herself enough to get the magistrate out of sight. Where is the magistrate? A man in black armor calls down to your cowering father. You might as well kill me, Battlemore spits back. Blaster fire rings out through the hall from out of your line of sight and fells the soldier standing over your father. The sudden ambush causes the other soldiers in the group to return with a volley. You see multiple soldiers fall and an explosion from a grenade erupts from behind them. You scamper behind a column and shut your eyes as the firefight continues. You think you hear a woman cry out in agony before a falling silent. Mother! You start to say, but a hand covers your face. In an instant, you're taken from the building. You lie! Your scream seems to scatter every animal in the forest, birds ascending from their perches and small grassland creatures rushing away in fright. No, the resistance knew he wasn't going to leave, not willingly. They hired me to take him out of the capital discreetly during the battle to make it look like he was being held for ransom. But the mercenaries, Tal's men, infiltrated earlier than I expected. Your mother was very brave and killed one of the men. He threw a grenade from a hiding spot to try and distract them, but it caused a bigger mess. The mercenaries killed your father and then your mother. The magistrate, too. I saw you behind the pillar, and I didn't want them to get you. I know what Tal does with child slaves. I didn't kill your parents, Tristy. I just failed to save them. I don't believe you. Why didn't you tell me any of this before? You were traumatized by it all. Took 6 months for you to even talk to me. By then, I thought I was best to just let the past lie. I should have, though. You deserve to know. For that, I'm sorry. You don't say anything for a long time. Aleph slowly approaching you, his hands up, the knife laying on the ground behind him now. You could kill him. A few pressure point attacks. Put his neck in the crook of your arm and squeeze. All you have to do is not believe. Look into those eyes. The ones you trusted for 8 years. The ones who guided and protected you. Look into them and see. The evidence. Tal had the report. Showed that you were a Republic spy. In the video he showed me, you were wearing a Republic outfit just like the rest of them. Tristy, I was a member of the Resistance. Don't you think it's coincidental that we always took their jobs? And I wore the same uniform so I could get past them more easily. You look into his eyes. Those same kind eyes. Honest. He always had a tell when he lied. The left eyelid fidgeted just a bit. It's steady right now. So, I betrayed you for nothing? 10 years of my life in service to the man responsible? You start to feel lightheaded, and the unease in your stomach is rising to the back of your throat. Hey, Aleph says, rushing forward to get a hold of you before you fall. Let's take a moment and breathe. I betrayed you, you repeat, taking off your helmet to get some fresh air, though the smoke from the fire causes you to heave and you pitch forward to vomit, soiling the front of Aleph's robes. Wasn't the reception I was expecting, but that's okay. He's covered in filth, but you don't care. You rush forward and throw your arms around him, sobbing into his chest. Quiet now, Aleph says, pulling you close as the two of you kneel to the ground, his arm wrapped around you. Everything's okay now. I betray. You can't get the words out as the tears continue to pour. You try to say you're sorry, but he won't even let you begin. The next day, your eyes are red from crying as the two of you set off across the wasteland. You carry your helmet in your hand and try to fill Aleph in on the last 10 years. So the resistance is dead, he says. 5 years on. Sure, there's some small pockets here and there, but it's mostly kids shooting at small fish and an explosion here and there. 20 years of fighting down the drain. Aleph's face looks pained as he says this. So the story you told me about your past? That's all true, except for crashing here. I used to be an escort pilot before I turned bounty hunter. That incident is one of several that led to the war. It would have been around the time you were born. And you were a member of the Resistance the whole time? Unofficially. I didn't agree with everything they stood for, but the Republic had become too corrupt. The leadership was more interested in profit than people. Suppression tactics were widespread. To be honest, that had been going on for a while, probably. So I helped the Resistance when it suited me. A kidnapping of a Republic official here, rescue mission there, all under my allegiance to the League and the Bounty Hunters Code. Why didn't you tell me? You weren't old enough to understand, and I didn't want you running off to join the Resistance. Well, I needed you. Wanted you there with me. It was safer. I thought so anyways. You must have hated me for what I did to you. No. I put that down to Intik. You were just 18. His words are slick, and his influence is heavy. That's why I never took his jobs. So why did you go along with a job if you didn't like dealing with him? Because the money was good, and I was proud. Thought I'd kept my cover all these years. Plus, it was a chance to get a Republic official. It sounded good. Too good in the end. I'm sorry, you say, coming to a halt at the base of the ridge. If I hadn't listened to Intik, hadn't let him poison me against you, none of this would have happened. You were still just a kid. But I carried on, took jobs from him, took out and captured resistance leaders up into the end of the war. I don't blame you, Tristy, Aleph says, placing his hands on your shoulders. You were manipulated by a man whose influence and tact is beyond measure. Well, it's about to get much larger, you say as the two of you start to ascend the path to the top of the ridge. What do you mean? The bounty. He's one of the governor's sons. Intik had arranged for him to marry his niece. If it goes ahead, he'll basically have a seat at the council table. Just a couple of assassinations, an accidental death away from taking over the collective. Is that dire? Aleph says, staring off at first before turning to you. Then the first thing we have to do is get off this rock with that boy. And then we'll kill Intik, you say. No, Aleph interrupts. We'd never get close enough to do it. And even if we did, it'd be a suicide mission. Plenty of underbosses to take his place, too. What we need to do is bring the boy to whoever is left and competent in the resistance. Use him as a bargaining chip. Resistance? You say, unconvinced. Aleph, I told you, it's dead. If there's even a small cell alive, it can be regrown. By just us? No. I have a few contacts. Presuming they're still alive, you can get them involved as well. Like I said, the first thing we need to do is get off this rock. Reaching the top of the ridge, you pause. Why didn't you kill me? You ask. When I was sick. You had the chance while I was out. Because you're my Tristy, Aleph responds, turning to you. No matter what you've done, it won't ever change. I would have killed you, you say as he starts to disappear over the ridgeline into the forest. I know, he calls back. That's why I waited until you were out of opportunities to do so before I showed myself. The two of you make it to the clearing, and the ship is still there, waiting patiently to be revived. So it was you who damaged the ship's fuel tank. Had to keep you here, and knew about the fuel deposits. Wish you would have gone my way, though. Much easier. Though I guess it gave us time to bond. Guess so, you say with a smile. You fill the tank, and I'll get your boy, he says, darting off into the forest. You wonder for a moment if this is all a ruse. Will he come back with a herd of his canine hunters to finish you off? You fill the tank, and a few minutes later your concern is abated as he emerges alone, bounty in tow. He's a bit worse for wear. He needs a good cleaning, Aleph says, handing the still-bound young man over to you. So, tired, is all he can say as he willingly comes to your grasp. You're going to do a lot of good for us and the people of this galaxy, Aleph says to the wilting lad as you lead him to the ship. As you emerge from the cargo hold, you see Aleph kneeling in the center of the clearing. It sounds like he's saying a prayer. Still a firm believer in the code? You ask him as he finishes. Every day, I prayed for my freedom, that I would get back what was stolen from me, that you would be sent to redeem me, to make that payment for what was stolen, what Intik took. It's the greatest encouragement of my faith I could ask for. It's what makes me believe there's still hope for the future. Let's get going, you say, placing a hand on his shoulder. There's a revenge tour we're destined to undertake. Far greater than that, Tristy. Far greater. The two of you enter the ship, and the engines fire. The Fowler lifts from the clearing floor and is soon above the tree line. It's not long before the ship is soaring above the clouds and into the upper levels of the atmosphere, and then the vastness of space. A whole galaxy at your fingertips, and a purpose to make a difference lay before you. You look over at Aleph, a smile on his face as he gazes out at the stars. The payment for what you stole. You know now what it was.